Most DIY trim installations result in glaring gaps against the wall, splintered edges, and rows of highly visible screw heads. The underlying issue is that modern houses rarely have perfectly straight walls. If you try to force a straight board against a curved surface, the installation will fail. To solve this, we are going to walk through a cohesive 6-step sequence to install clean, professional trim, regardless of how warped your walls might be. You do not need expensive machinery for this. You only need a few basic items: a tape measure, a playing card, a binder clip, wooden dowels, a pencil, a sharp chisel, and a little bit of water. Mastering the specific sequence of these simple techniques is exactly what separates an amateur patchwork job from professional carpentry. Step 1 is measuring. Getting an exact measurement in a tight room corner is difficult because the metal tape often bends or slips right as you take the reading. To fix this, take a standard playing card and a binder clip. Clamp the metal tab of your tape measure directly to the card and press the card flat into the corner of the wall. The rigid card anchors the end of the tape completely flat against the drywall. This prevents any slippage and guarantees a millimeter-perfect reading. Step 2 is scribing. Once you cut your board and push it against the wall, you will almost certainly see uneven gaps because the wall itself is wavy. This schematic shows scribing. Dragging a pencil flat against the wall along the board transfers its exact wavy topography onto the wood. Trimming away that shaded excess allows the custom fit board to slide into the grooves with zero gap. By getting an absolute measurement and custom scribing the back edge, you eliminate the need to aggressively force the wood. The baseboard naturally aligns with the unique geometry of your room. Step 3 is fastening. When you drive screws near the edge of dry trim, you run a high risk of the wood splitting. To prevent this, hold the end of the wood board under running water for a few seconds before you drive the screw. The moisture temporarily softens the wood fibers. Instead of snapping under the pressure of the screw threads, those wet fibers stretch and compress securely around the metal. Step 4 is concealment. Many builders rely on countersinking, driving the screw head deep below the surface and packing the hole with wood filler. This leaves a visible patch that absorbs paint poorly. Instead, take a sharp wood chisel and peel up a thin, continuous shaving of wood from the surface, leaving it attached at one end. Next, drive your screw directly into the exposed recess underneath that lifted sliver. Finally, apply a drop of wood glue and press the sliver down over the screw head and lightly sand the surface smooth once it dries. Softening the fibers with moisture and hiding the screw creates a high-strength connection while keeping the outer face of the trim completely clear of holes or patches. Step 5 is gap filling. Sometimes you encounter deep structural voids behind the baseboard that cannot be fixed by scribing the wood alone. A common mistake is pumping large amounts of wet caulk into these deep voids. Thick layers of caulk inevitably shrink and crack over time. This split-screen comparison shows the proper fix. Instead of caulk, pack the void flush using wooden dowels, set in glue to create a solid backing. Once dry, sanding this dowel matrix flush leaves a permanent, rigid surface that safely bridges the gap. Step 6 is paint touch-ups. You face a high risk of getting stray paint on your newly installed trim or the adjacent wall. To protect your surfaces, cut a precise opening out of a scrap piece of paper to match the shape and size of the zone you need to touch up. Hold this custom paper mask firmly over the spat and paint directly through the hole. The paper shields all surrounding finished surfaces from errant paint splatters. Completing these final finishing techniques ensures the final installation looks professional and remains durable for years. Looking closely at the final installation, you can see the tight alignment where the baseboard seamlessly hugs the wall. The ends of the boards are free of splits, there are no visible screw heads, and all structural gaps are completely solid. You now have the exact sequence of techniques required to execute professional-grade trim carpentry in any room of your house. Try the playing card and tape measure trick on your very next project, and let us know your exact savings in the comments below.